introduce yourselves and be welcome.
Oh, that was so nice for once.
I'm totally fine with being a nerd, a geek, and a pervert. Also, I'm Bobbi.
Fox here with my
Take
sweet
care.
dog River.
And Smurf.
The least of us.
Oh,
dude.
now you're going to be a dick.
Well, maybe he's
Well-
just talking about in size there, Fox.
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
I mean, I'm definitely taller than Smurf.
Yeah, I think so is, Scarlet.
Oh, that's just rude.
I don't know.
It's okay, Smurf. One day you'll grow up to be a big boy.
I'm drinking wine. Oh wait, that's not how that works.
Say Scarlet's
What
That's
kind of
super
wine are you
good.
drinking?
I'm super high class tonight. I'm drinking my bougie hard alcohol seltzer. It's the press, but it's the
Ooh.
cardamom and grapefruit.
Ooh.
Ooh,
I'm
very
bougie.
adult.
It's bougie.
Yes.
That is.
Smurf, I think the wine is stunting your growth.
Yeah, I should probably get off of that and try
Get off
something.
the sauce.
Oh yeah, well you stopped growing at 21-ish.
As Fox is sitting there drinking their wine.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm 5'9", so
Fox
I
made
think
it.
all of us are just the right height and beautiful.
Hey, my clothes fit, and I can get into just about any car I want to drive. So it's
Oh,
fine.
look at you
I'm just
finding
giving you a
the
hard time.
upside.
you
I'll
are
just-
perfect just the way you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's a pain in the ass to find 10 and a half size shoes. All right.
Wait.
I went to the
This is
van
true.
store. Yeah, I went to the van store to buy some new kicks. So
Which
for
one?
the one at Park Meadows, and
Um,
they had nothing in my size. And then they have
What?
that whole center wall that's devoted to shoes that are only available online. I was like, well, that was a waste. I was so pissed. They're like, well, it's available online. It's like, that's great, but I'm here now and I want the shoe now.
Taking
Go
the
to
Nike
Colorado Mills
approach.
next time. Go to Colorado Mills next time. It's an outlet, and there's like racks and racks and racks of 10 and a halves, and also they're on sale. So
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I was at Park Meadows. I was at the Lego store. I was up to all. Of course, I was up to all sorts of nonsense. So I bought like 6 sets of Lego. It's crazy. I'm out
Awesome.
of control. Out of control.
what'd you get?
I finally got the garden for the the New Year, the bull, Year of the
Oh.
Ox.
Oh, nice.
Finally got that. Got the crashed island with the ship. Like the castaway ship, I think. Can't remember the name of it at the moment. But it's like a pirate ship or it's an island, and they have a bar there. I was like, oh, that's
Nice.
perfect. Because it goes with the crab shack and the lighthouse and all of that. I picked up the Sesame Street one, of course, so I could build that out a little bit. They had the Friends set, so that's going inside one of the modulars. The detective agency needs a coffee shop, I think, and the bookstore. So that's going to get turned into Black's Books. So
There
if
you
you're
go.
a BBC person, you know what I'm talking about. It's all about Black books. And of course,
Bobbi and
minifigs.
Judging by Bobby's face, I think we heard that differently than everyone else.
Yes, I agree.
Oh,
Or she's just not saying anything. I don't know. She's moving. No,
she is moving.
there
She's
she
not
is.
frozen.
She's
Yeah.
not frozen.
She's
She
having,
just doesn't want to
scared.
comment.
thoughts about big black books.
Big black books.
I tried a big black book once. Just once.
Gave you a paper cut.
There's not enough yoga to read that much book.
Yeah. And sometimes you just get tired of reading too much book.
It's true.
There are some people who like a lot of book. Me? I like a nice, decently sized,
Novella.
perfectly,
Novella.
Written book.
A nice novella.
No, novella is way too small for my personal taste.
Nice thick 1,000-pager. Not too much.
You know, something that has a good sequel.
Gotcha.
Well, you got to build one after the other, so that only makes sense.
Exactly, you know. And the author is also very important.
Well, yeah, you gotta have the right author.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just spinning your wheels.
You gotta have someone who knows what they're doing when they're writing.
Exactly, because if the intro is bad, then the rest of the book's just gonna go downhill.
Yeah.
Hence, Ready Player 2. So enough book innuendo.
my God.
Wow.
What
Ready
is? I know.
Player 2 is like-
Shots
Ready Player
fired.
2 is like the incel of books.
Oh,
What?
It's like the incel of books.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's an innie, not an outie.
the book
God.
that doesn't get touched.
And I'm okay with both innies
It's left
and
on the
outies,
shelf.
but there are some things.
All right. Enough book innuendo. What's
All
on the
right,
docket
so
for tonight?
let's start with something that I found a wee bit shocking this week. And that was the season finale of Invincible.
Oh,
It
so
was
good.
So fucking good, man.
It was
Why was
crazy.
it so good?
It was not at all what I expected.
So that basically is like the round out of the first year of comics.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Like 12, 13 issue right in that area.
So there's
So-
only like a couple of key elements that happened in the cartoon that didn't happen in the
Yeah.
comics.
They did
Like
add
the-
stuff to it.
They did add stuff to it because the government agent guy, he doesn't appear until after the fight between Invincible and Omni-Man.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about
So-
Cecil?
Yes.
Yes, Cecil does not show up in the comic until much later. So that's a drastic change. Of course, like I said, Savage Dragon is another character that's missing, but I have a feeling that the alien that he's talking to at the end on the moon may
Yeah.
replace Savage Dragon.
Well, and they also have the other dragon in there still, which we'll see next season apparently.
which we'll see next season. So
Right, and it has been renewed for 2 more seasons at least.
Yeah.
correct.
Which I was worried because I wasn't hearing shit about people seeing it. Everyone who watched it loved it, but no one watched it.
Kirkman was sitting on that one for a while, I think. But as Seth
He
Rogen is
was.
doing this, he's doing The Boys. Rogen's on point right now, so I had full confidence it was going to get renewed.
Well, and Kirkman was on Fat Man Beyond this week to kind of follow up the season finale thing, and he talked about like he's basically been sitting on the idea that this is going to be it was going to be extended pretty early
Mhm.
already, just
Well,
because
yeah.
they got a lot of positive feedback just off the first week of releases.
Absolutely.
And it's
Well, that's the
perfect.
thing. Yeah, like anyone who's watched it loves it. It's just I don't see many people who actually watch it.
Well, and it's tough because everyone I talk about today, or just over the last couple of days, moving the office and everything, the subject came up. And they're like, "We haven't watched it yet." And again, I emphasize, you gotta watch the first episode all the way through. If you stop anyway during that first episode, you're not coming back. But you gotta close out that first episode, and then when you do, you're hooked.
Yep, the season finale was definitely a good payoff for it too.
Oh my God, wasn't it?
The escalation of violence was amazing.
The
Yeah, I
train
did
scene, as
not.
Dash was alluding to while we were setting up for the night.
Oh my god!
train?
There was
Yes.
So much senseless gore. I loved it.
The train was.
loved
I love the train. I love the
I did
falling
too.
building. Chicago just got wasted.
Wiped out, yeah.
And
Which
there
kind of
wasn't,
tells
like,
you
shit that happened that anyone could do. They were just
Yeah.
like, well, we're fucked.
just another day.
Yeah.
But the train scene alone is why this could not have been live action.
No, could you
Absolutely.
imagine that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I honestly thought that whole trip to Mars was going to come back in
It will.
because of
It
the
will.
little thing that
Yeah,
I
the
really thought
parasite.
that was gonna come into play. Nope.
No, that's
Not
set up.
yet.
There's a lot of setup. There was so much.
There was
setup.
a lot of setup in that last episode.
Yeah, and it's
and I get that, but like that's what I was expecting when it was like, okay, Omni-Man's off his fucking nut.
No,
Oh,
but
no.
it
No,
sets
he
up so
like-
much. Yeah, and you get those other aliens that he like mop the floor with, and they're like, like, yeah, I can't wait. And again, it looks like it's really following closely to the comic. Everything
Pretty
that
close.
we saw all happens in the books. So again, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be epic.
Yeah, they left out one character which we might see in the future at some point, but it was very close to another thing that we already saw with the experimentation at the college. There is another storyline that's in the similar vein in the comic books that we might see next season. I don't know.
I think we will, because I think like when you see at the end where he's making all the other robots, I have a feeling that's setting that story up.
I think so too. That's what I was kind of leaning towards when I saw that.
Mm-hmm. So, and I don't want to spoil it.
Do you think, damn it, Immortal? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be alive again?
Absolutely.
Because, like,
Do you want us to spoil it for you?
No. But, like, seeing the scene where he just got ripped in half and then seeing him in the hospital where they're, like, trying to piece him back together, I'm like, that was a fucking lot, man.
If he came back after the first time Omni-Man, like,
Sliced his
decimated
fucking
him,
head off? Yeah.
then he can come back after being cut in half. Come on.
Yeah, but the head is a little bit less intricate than your entire torso.
Don't forget, he was Abraham Lincoln. He took a bullet to the dome.
Yeah.
So I mean, this isn't the worst.
This guy has died quite a bit.
Yeah, this guy's been through the ringer.
I mean, they were putting his eyeball back in the socket. I think he's fine.
He's evidently just knits back together, kind of like
I think he just, it's like he has a case of the sniffles. He'll be okay.
Come on, guys. Let's not act like we haven't lived with Deadpool for the last 2 decades. All right.
That's true.
Who has literally grown from just a head at one point.
Pretty much. He grew back from his
when
tongue.
he's like free balling with the tiny legs.
Yeah, he has recovered from so much.
But
we
the
all
best
know
scene
that
is
was that scene where like the lady is reaching over and he's like, "That's not my hand." Okay.
The best scene is Mr. Immortal when he comes back and just snaps to and just goes beelines it for where's Omni-Man?
Yeah.
It just goes fucking ballistic. That probably one of my favorite scenes out of episode 7. Just so good.
It was. It's like you won this one, Smurf. You won this one. It's like it's so good and it's so graphic and like and wholesome at the same time. Like it's it's very juxtaposed.
You got your family values. It's important. Yeah. And there's this moral backbone, and Mom is there, and Cecil's looking out for the betterment of everyone. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a spoiler out there real quick. What the fuck is up with that douchebag taking back the dumbass bitch?
Oh, that's another that plays into something else. Also.
That does something else, yeah.
Okay, because like I would have been like, now you're at my door. Please go and shove it up your own ass.
Yeah, after watching me get my ass whipped all over the world.
Now that you realize that, you're not the center of my universe.
Well, and I think
damn whore in the bad way. They're good whores. She's the bad kind.
So Tank calling me out last week when I was like, I really was indifferent and like, fuck her for like, I've always known all the time and me not liking her. Tank is right. I have foreknowledge of what's
happening.
What's her story. So that's probably influencing my disdain for her character all in all. But I still think she's a bitch. The woman that plays Domino.
Sly boy.
Yeah, she's doing a great job with that character's voice, and
yeah,
I applaud Domino. Well, I can't think of her name at the moment, but well done. Well done.
I love J.K. Simmons so much more now.
Oh my God, yes.
Last episode.
It makes me want to go episodes of The Closure.
He is just the best. He's just beating the ever-living shit out of him and just criticizing him the whole
Why
time.
are you making me do this? This is your fault.
It's like the worst version of child abuse ever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
As the teeth go falling out of Invincible's head, why are you making me do this? It's your own fault. Why are you hitting yourself? Why? I was just waiting for him to do that. Just rip an arm off. Why are you hitting yourself?
God.
Why do you care about these
fucking
insignificant things? Yeah.
Okay. And then you have that whole moment of like the flashback to the baseball game.
Oh, I know. That tender moment of
Well,
why
it made
I
him
give
stop
a
beating
fuck.
him to death, I guess. So that's a positive.
Yeah.
It showed a little sliver of humanity.
Yeah.
And I know he did knock out the same 2 teeth, so it's fine.
Right? Like that was the connection there. Like, oh, I just knocked out your teeth. It reminds me of the last time I knocked out your front 2 teeth.
Toothless Wonder.
You know, that's my stripper name.
Toothless Wonder. I'll give you the coming of your life.
Oh, on the center stage. Okay.
That one that's understood. Toothless. Ain't she a wonder?
The one thing I was a little dissatisfied with is shit, what's her name? The girl in pink?
Adam Eve.
Adam Eve.
Yes, Adam Eve. I was disappointed that she did nothing and she was built up for like half an episode on how badass and powerful she was.
She proves it eventually.
Yeah, there's a hero moment for her coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just like,
she's
wow.
so unsure of herself at this point in the story. That's on purpose. She doesn't know what she's supposed to do, and that they kind of leaned into that a little bit in the last episode of she wants to be a hero and doesn't want to be a hero and just doesn't want to be involved right now.
You also have this whole like she's in love with Mark and can't really do anything about it. You know, kind of subtext that's still happening right now. And when she did come out to her friends about her, you know, like, hey, this is who I am, they're like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't really matter.
The one that duplicates?
And she does have her parents in her head a lot. So
yeah, I mean, her dad is
progresses.
So like, I get she's going through that whole, you know.
She finds her voice though.
No, she doesn't.
I still really like her character.
No, she's great. Actually, she has some really great moments.
She has
in the
some
comics.
really cool stuff that pops up eventually, and they're at the very baseline of her character right now. Just keep that in mind.
She's a slow burn. She's a very slow burn.
Yeah, because I liked her a lot. I just was expecting some action from her, some initiative, and nothing happened.
No.
I mean,
come on, you got growth out of everybody. How many more characters do you want to see grow in a season? Come on.
Oh, I love Titan right now.
Baby steps for her, but it happens. It's a big payoff, trust me.
That whole
You'll
thing
like
with
it.
Titan, I can't wait for that to play out.
Yes. Oh yes.
With Kunlun, is that his name?
I think so.
The shapeshifter, the dragon dude. And Titan, yeah. That's gonna be a fun payoff next year, I think.
Yes. Hopefully they get there next year. Hopefully that's.
I hope so. It should be. It depending. It looks like he's doing a year of books
at a shot,
plus or minus, a little bit per season, which gives us what?
12 issues, 13 issues. Because I mean, they had to add all of the Cecil stuff in.
Yeah.
All of the Cecil scenes and everything that happened around that.
That happen yet, but it looks well. I think the run for that book was 120, right?
I thought it made 150.
150. Okay, so they got a lot to work off of here, but
yeah, there's still plenty of time. I can't find my Invincible box from here.
I'm guessing they're gonna skip a little bit, but they'll, probably like with The Walking Dead. I mean, that was 2 something, 200 and something issues.
Yeah, 238, 239, something odd like that.
Yeah,
and that box is over there. I can't get to that.
And when he just randomly decided to kill off the series.
Yeah, just suddenly.
Which is the most badass move that a comic book author can do. Just like, you know what, we're done. What?
Yeah, that's a gangster move. Drop the mic. I'm out, bitches. Even the artists didn't even know. The artists actually had covers. They solicited the comic, and nope, just done. See ya.
It was funny, but yeah, this one's a smaller series, so it's probably gonna take up less time. But if they kind of follow this path, it's probably got a good, at least 5-6 years in it.
I could see 5 easy.
Do you think we're gonna get a new season next year? Like about this time next year?
I would not be surprised.
They will need to start the animation very soon if that is the case.
If they've already started the animation, that's the big question.
Yeah, I think they already have, especially as quickly as they renewed this. I'm going to bet you that, knowing how these guys work, usually they order 2 seasons up front. So I wouldn't be surprised if season 2 was already half in the can, and now they're already planning season 3.
Well, and I'm assuming they, like I was talking about, I think they greenlit it very early, probably after week 1 or 2. It was probably greenlit, so they probably automatically started working on stuff. So
yeah, the animation's probably easier. It's getting the voice actors into the booth.
Yeah,
animation takes a while on some of those shows.
The animation isn't actually all that complicated. There was in the season finale that blast from the sky. That was such a beautiful, well done aesthetic scene. And I'm like, why is the rest of this anime not this? It's super plain looking.
Like I said, it's like off the comic. That's exactly the comic. Yeah, that's how the comic looks, man. It's not that far from the book.
He was working on this simultaneously with Walking Dead. And you got to think, along this time, he came out, he even talked about it. He's like, at this point in time when I was making both this and The Walking Dead, in the beginning of making it, I was literally just trying not to lose my house.
Yeah, it was a mad scramble.
He was pushing everything out as quick as he could just to, and which is funny to think about now, where he might be, at this point, the richest comic book artist or comic book writer on the planet, I'm assuming at this point.
He's a powerhouse right now, without a doubt.
At one point, when he was making both this and Walking Dead, he was homeless almost. So,
but it's cool they had that. He had that kind of success and turnaround, and the quality of his work stands up for it. So,
yeah.
It's like I honestly didn't expect myself to like this series, but I came around to it.
Yay! One more for Smurf.
Yeah, who would have thought gratuitous violence will do it for me? But it's true, it does.
So it's also good writing, not just gratuitous violence.
It's also an interesting story that gets just amplified by the gratuitous violence.
It's true.
I don't know, Steph. After we watched Babysitter Killer Queen together, I feel like gratuitous violence does do it for you.
It kind of does.
And then what's the one with the metal?
Morgana is watching. Morgana, does gratuitous violence really do it for Stash?
Whips and chains exciting.
That is true.
Morgana and Stash did tour the dungeon when they were over here for the lovely dinner that I made that, Fox and Smurf couldn't make it to.
Sorry, I was working. Paying the bills.
It's fine. I'm pretty sure that's not the last time I'll bring it up, but it is the last time I'll bring it up on air.
Sure.
I doubt it.
That's probably fair.
No promises.
Hi, Christina. Thanks for joining us as well.
What else we got on the docket?
All right. Whips and chains excite Stash, so let's jump over to Dexter.
Oh my God! Yes.
And Morgana says, yes, gratuitous violence does make Stash happy.
Then he's going to be in heaven with Dexter, because Clancy Brown playing the serial killer that Dexter goes after. The trailer is amazing, because you don't realize what you're seeing until you see it. because you get that close up of Dexter's face, but it's the reflection in the glass that behind him is his kill room, and there's a body on the table. So Dexter has not changed. Dexter hasn't changed. It's awesome.
Dexter has a notoriously hated season finale.
Yes.
And I'm wondering where they're gonna go from that. Are they gonna make it less shitty?
Well, they would have to, I think.
Actually, there's been some rumors floating around now that Carpenter, I can't think of her first name, the lady that played his sister is Jennifer. Thank you. Jennifer Carpenter is coming back. So I don't know if that's his dark passenger and replaces Harry. And we were going to, because I'm kind of curious
about that too. Like, yeah, I wonder if he's going to like literally carry her with him, like he does his dad.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, because that's what I'm thinking. His dark passenger will be replaced by her, and Harry will be gone. Because I think he kind of effectively killed Harry in that final season, and now he's carrying the guilt of killing Deb off. So that would not be surprising at all.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to be more of a fresh look at Dexter, because the writing went pretty off the rails in the last few seasons. So I'm excited. I'm hoping that Some Time Away has given a new perspective and that we're going to get some good fresh writing. I have high hopes, but mediocre expectations.
Come on. Clancy Brown is perfect as the guy that Dexter's going after.
They honestly do a decent job of picking serial killers for the show, though. They always
I don't know.
Yeah. The first half.
5 seasons, they had really good serial killers.
I mean,
the first half was good.
John Lithgow was
that was the best.
chef kiss.
That's where it should have ended. Right there with Lithgow is where it should have ended.
And then Colin was pretty good.
I mean, it's
Colin
really
wasn't bad.
hard to, top Lithgow. I'm just saying.
Yes.
But yeah,
I can't top Lithgow on the bottom.
I'd like to top Lithgow.
Wow.
I'd like to talk to him.
That's what I said. I'd like to talk Lithgow.
Yes.
Totally what I said.
It'd be an interesting conversation, but I'm excited to see everybody come back.
Clancy
I don't think
Brown's
we'll
a fun choice. I agree.
Oh my God, absolutely. All I can see is the Kurgan and him just
Oh yeah.
Carnival and all of that creepy darkness just seeping out of Clancy Brown. I mean, he does a great job voicing Lex Luthor, so I have huge expectations of him just trying to bully Dexter.
But I want to know what snaps him back into it. That's my thing that I want to find out. Like, how does it happen?
Well, I mean, obviously he's still killing according to the trailer.
Well, see, and that's what it seems like. But when did because based on the series finale and him, being a lumberjack and all of that stuff.
I'm a
He's
lumberjack.
a lumberjack, but is he okay?
Man, but how does it lead into he needs to start killing again? That's what I want to know.
Unless he crosses,
he has to. It's in his bones.
It's in his makeup. Can't fight habit.
Well, then also leads me to think, like, does it continue with he only kills bad people, or has he ventured off the beaten track?
I think he'd stayed to his code. He was so adamant about the code, and I think him killing Deb inadvertently really, really fucked him up.
I think so too, yeah.
So to snap him back towards the code and only taking out people, because I could see where he's like in the middle of nowhere and these people disappear out in the wilderness all the time. So nobody questions it. Nobody's looking for him. So, the Bay Harbor Butcher is kaput. And now it's just Mother Nature and a wicked bear. Grr.
So it's a serial killer lumberjack that he goes after to start out?
That's exactly it. That one vacationing guy that comes up there every so often with a body. And yep, I think
if you have a cabin by a lake, then obviously that's the place to dump a body.
That's absolutely correct.
Either that or a pig farm.
Yeah, never visit anyone that owns a pig farm. That's why bear.
I was just thinking about Smurf getting just wrecked by a fucking bear.
I could imagine worse ways of going
You
out.
know what I
What
mean.
kind of bear, Stash?
You
Oh,
know
wait.
exactly what
Are
I
you
mean.
talking about one of those big boys in leather? Oh
Yes,
no,
I am.
that is
I mean,
not gonna happen.
Ever
You
since you
get
said
wrecked.
that, you were like,
Okay.
I was like, yeah, that's Smurf getting caught by a bear right there.
Smurf likes bears. There we go.
Hashtag Smurf in leather. Got it.
Nice.
No,
I do
Smurf
have
is the one in leather.
Oh yeah, I got some leather
Hey,
pants,
Tank can
baby.
wear leather too. Although, you know,
I would have figured Drew for an otter guy, to be honest, there, Smurf.
well, he's the right size for an otter.
Or a twonk.
No, I feel like Smurf has the build of a cub.
Oh,
Oh.
cuddly.
That's fair.
And again, Smurf, you're just the right size, okay? Just the right size, not
to
too
be-
short at all.
No, not at all.
Everyone who is part of Pet Play Palace knows there are no bad pet types or animal types. You know, they're just
Different.
different types.
Different.
And everyone is unique and special in their own way.
And who doesn't like to cuddle with a cub? Come on.
Me.
Well,
don't
you're
get it.
you're just weird that way because we already know whips and chains excite you.
It's true.
I mean, you could say that about half the people on this podcast. So
That is true.
Only half?
Well, 1, 2.
I mean,
Yeah,
I guess there's only 5 of us, but
I'm not a
Lightning
whips and chains guy.
And not
not a whips and chains guy, or you are a whips and chains guy?
No.
No.
I'm not so much for a
Not
pain for
right.
pleasure kind of thing.
no, I feel like
Get my ass
like-
kicked in football.
Tank
Yeah.
and his partner would be more excited about the sensation play drawer than
Yeah.
the impact play wall.
Yeah, I'm not a pain for play kind of a.
no. I
Hey,
hated getting hit in
Crystal, you
football.
came in at the perfect conversation point.
I hated getting hit in football. No thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say,
Okay, there's a thing about getting pain because you get hit in a sporting event, right? Cheerleading is not football, and I understand that, but let me just tell you, some of the pain that we endured for that sport is absolutely intense. Okay, so I understand the pain going through a sporting event thing. However, the pain that you get when you're going through specifically for pleasure is
Mhm.
very, very different. I'm
It
not a
is.
pain person. I prefer
so
the
I know
play stuff, but it doesn't mean that impact play doesn't have its time and place.
I know that we're getting off on a tangent here, but it completely blew my mind when it was explained to me that most people's reaction to experiencing pain is to get angry and not
Yes.
horny.
See, and that's the biggest thing. I was trained my entire life that when I experience pain, it's my turn to respond.
Yep. You hit
I
back.
started doing judo at 8 years old. So if someone was hurting me, my response is, I'm going to hurt you worse.
Yeah. Make peace with God.
Yeah.
You waited till you were 8. You started the girls at 3.
Yeah. Well,
That's wisdom.
I want them in the Olympics. I didn't make it there.
Man. All right. While we're on a tangent and Tank is talking about the fact that he, had all of the training starting at 8, he has started his girls on this training since they were 3 years old. And his oldest, who is now 5, almost 6, has taken her 7-year-old cousin and judo thrown her across a room for pissing her off. It was a completely justified reaction.
She wouldn't let go of her arm. She warned her before that happened.
Yeah. It was a justified reaction, but holy shit, you have this tiny little, Shirley Temple looking blonde girl throwing, and I'm just like, yep, those are my girls.
Well, she can pick her mom up.
Yeah, she's always been ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
So, all right. So,
Yes. All right.
moving on. Let's just jump to something completely random since we've been on tangents. Let's run over to Jeff Goldblum is going to be doing a D&D podcast. Hopefully his will have far less tangents and far more sex talk.
Uh,
Now that you can count on.
I
sex
don't.
talk, yes.
I don't.
Tangents, that's what D&D is tangents.
This is
Yes.
true.
Do I want to know any more about Jeff Goldblum's sex life?
We have
Yeah.
I
Rick
want to
does
know
that.
everything about Jeff Goldblum's sex life. Also, I would like to be involved in it, please and thank you. I'm very offended that I'm not.
Yeah, where's our invite? God damn it! We all play D&D.
You wanna play with the master?
So is he DMing or?
No, so I believe he will be playing a character. I did look into the podcast that he's going to be on. It's called Dark Dice.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, the main guy, like narrator kind of thing. His name is Travis Vengroff, I think. And it's more of like a D&D as an audio drama.
Mhm.
So I believe what they do is they play D&D, they transcribe what happened, and they make it into an audio drama.
That actually sounds really fantastic.
So I'm
Kind of cool.
yeah.
So isn't that kind of like
I'm
Critical
very
Role?
excited to see what Jeff Goldblum's role is going to be. I hope that he is like a super sexy smoldering tiefling or something.
Oh my god! Of course you do. As for your
Isn't
question,
that the? I'm not. So while we're recording this on another stream that's currently happening.
Oh, he's playing. They have already said what he is playing.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He is going to be an elven sorcerer named Balmer.
Hot.
that is not a. I was gonna say the exact opposite, but
Nothing kinky there.
Hot. Sorcerers
Yeah.
are hot. Elves are
We don't
hot.
know what's under the robe.
it's true.
Nothing. The correct
there's actually-
answer is nothing.
There's actually
Man,
a picture too. It is kind of a weird version of him. It does look like him though.
Magic
Oh,
wand.
really?
Yeah.
That's a strange choice.
Well, I mean, there are some people who like their characters to look like them.
Not
There's-
many.
There are some people who want their character to be as different from them as possible. And there are some people who want their character to be as close to them as possible because it makes it easier for them to play. It's a completely, different type of playing the game, but in the world of any kind of role play, you do have those two extremes. Then you have the people who are somewhere in the middle
And
who
who
want
wouldn't
to
want to
have
play Jeff Goldblum?
Oh well, and he's going to be joining an existing thing. Is what it looks like. It's an existing group
Okay.
starting May 12th.
So
Yeah, so
Which-
it's they're going to be starting a new arc.
Yes, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
So which D&D group would you rather play with? Joe Manganiello's group or Jeff Goldblum's group?
Jeff Goldblum's group.
That actually is a difficult question.
I mean, personally, I would rather play with Critical Role, but
I don't
Well-
know the DMs from either group, so that's where I can't decide.
Well, I think,
I think
Joe
is the DM.
Joe
for
is the
his.
DM for
If
his.
Joe is the DM, I'd want to play with
Yeah.
his group. Right, but not knowing who Jeff's DM is, like that does make a difference for me because I feel like the DM really does make a huge.
Set the tone.
Well, I'm assuming
Exactly.
it's whoever is the current DM of Dark Dice.
Yeah, I think that would be Travis. what did
Travis
I say?
Lickenbaum.
Van Gorf.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it
And-
up right now. I can't find his name.
Dusendorfer.
I just searched Dark Dice Podcast. But no question, I would like to play with Jeff Goldblum. You know he's gonna do some weird shit, some weird.
Absolutely would want to play with Jeff Goldblum, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'd want to play with him in D&D.
So what is the
I think-
difference?
Over the course of this conversation, I've realized that I have added Jeff Goldblum to my list of transition goals.
It's good to have goals.
I had some self-realization when I said who wouldn't want to look like Jeff Goldblum. And I realized, oh, I do want to look like Jeff Goldblum.
Well, see? Now we have to figure out which Jeff Goldblum do you want to look like?
Yeah, Jurassic Park Jeff Goldblum, Independence Day.
Yeah, no, that would be fantastic. A Jurassic Park Jeff Goldblum for like my early 30s, and then like older Jeff Goldblum when I get to be his current age.
That man has aged well.
Yes, he's held together.
So, Smurf, what was your question you were asking?
So how much of a difference, or what's the difference between them doing this drama with Jeff and Critical Role? Because they pretty much will podcast their campaign, which is kind of the drama, correct?
It seems to be very similar, actually, reading through it.
Well, Critical Role is literally the live gameplay with everything.
Yeah, honestly, I find Critical Role kind of boring. I know I'll probably get a lot of hate for that, but it doesn't move quickly enough for me. I really love the Adventure Zone, and I know that a lot of people have a problem with that because they are very fast and loose with the rules. It's more about telling a story and entertainment than it is about actually playing D&D. But I just can't sit down and listen to a 4-hour podcast of, just like people talking in a room.
Yeah, this seems to be more driven by like the old school radio play type of stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Where there's like a soundtrack and all kinds of stuff going along with it.
And honestly, those are the podcasts that I do listen to, are the ones that are like an old radio show.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they do that in Critical Role, but it is still focused. Like, it's an actual D&D game.
It's an actual campaign. Like, they're in the middle of the game.
There's times where they like freak out and have to count dice on screen, and this lasts for like 30 seconds. And it's like,
ooh.
It's
all right,
like,
figure in your THAC0. I rolled a 7, minus armor. Yeah, I can just imagine just sitting there watching people do maths. Yeah, that sounds great.
And it's like, it happens, but like when the characters interact, and it's so good that like it's my last day of the week podcast. Critical Role is every week, and there are times I am laughing so hard I can't stand up straight. So they're doing something right.
Doing something right.
Well, they have a great following. Like, nothing against Critical Role or really any other podcast out there. Like,
there's a couple.
5280 Geek. Like, I hear really weird things about them.
They fucking suck.
Really?
Jeez, dude.
And we're canceled.
Smurf, we love you, and we are incredibly grateful for all of the support from 5280, and we could not be where we are without you guys.
Yeah, I'm going to get some wine. I'll be right back. You guys can finish talking about Critical Role.
No, like, it's really cool to see how much these live D&D podcasts are expanding and growing. It's like, because they're starting to get incredibly famous people, and like Critical Role, for example, is all super famous voice actors. It's like we have actors. Conan O'Brien did a D&D episode. It's like
I would listen to that one. I would watch that.
It was super, like, I only watched bits and pieces of it, but it was super funny. And it's like, that's like, people are realizing that it is a platform for them to be ridiculous and stupid on. And that's always nice to have.
I mean, that's the only reason that me and my siblings play. That's the only reason that me and my siblings play D&D is jokes. Jokes.
Fireball.
Yeah,
I did play a sorcerer in one campaign, and I was
the Pathfinder game that is currently happening in 3 of the other rooms of my household right now, and which one of Fox's partners plays a tiefling. one of the characters, played by Molly Mayhem, is a fire mage and just got Fireball like a month ago. And so it's like, that's the big running joke right now is, she can finally cast Fireball.
So is there any mention as far as who else is in Jeff Goldblum's group? Has he like released names?
It's just their regular cast, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Well,
he's probably guesting for a arc.
That's exactly what it looks like.
That's what it looks
but
like.
Once you do it, you're hooked though.
Oh, and it based on everything that we've been able to find out, it looks like he's a big gamer, tabletop and RPGs anyway.
I can imagine Jeff Goldblum doing Axis and Allies. Oh my God, I don't even think I'd be able to make a move.
That would be so awesome.
Yes, Jeff Goldblum does Axis and Allies. I like that.
Now, see, like I could probably watch like the live streaming, especially if they dress in character.
He's showing up in character. No matter, he's got a robe. He's got items picked out for this. He's prepared. He's walking in there with a big Gandalf style staff, and he's gonna lay down the law, and then sing a song.
That would be fantastic.
Can he actually sing? I don't think I've ever heard him sing.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, and he plays piano quite well.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the man is talented. Got to give him credit.
Well, I don't know how many of our listeners or honestly hosts, actually, I'm not sure, of you play Magic.
Yeah.
But his character is from the visual that they show of the character he's playing, it looks a lot like Teferi from Magic.
Okay.
So.
All right. Very interesting. Yeah. Well, wait to hear it.
Yeah.
All right.
Else we got?
Speaking of singing and talent, let's jump over to the love of my life, who is unfortunately married, Lin-Manuel Miranda. And his newest movie that's coming out on Netflix, Vivo. And he is a voice actor in this, and as well as having written some of the songs. And this comes out on Netflix, let's see, this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays a kinkajou.
It's funny, yes.
That's funny. Nice. Well played.
You guys' response was amazing. Kind of like dry chuckling. It's like,
I get it. Wow.
Yeah, but so, the whole thing was directed by the guy who did The Croods and co-directed by the guy who did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
That's the visual style I was looking at. I was wondering, I'm like, it has to be the guys from Cloudy because the animation is very similar to that.
Yeah, it's a combination of Cloudy and Croods.
Mm-hmm.
I like Cloudy better.
I did too.
I did as well.
Way better than it should have been.
But I think it looks cute. I like that he's doing another cartoon.
And it's a musical, so it's in his wheelhouse.
Of course, it's a musical, and it does, it is, with that whole ethnic flair that he likes, because it is, the rainforest honey bear is from Havana, and he's coming up and visiting Miami for the first time. So you'll have a lot of that traditional Puerto Rican style as well as Cuban style singing and voicing. So I think it'll be good. It looks cute.
All right.
I'm excited to see.
I'll watch it for sure.
Yeah. It's like I'm still excited to see his live action movie that comes out soon.
Yeah, I think end of this week or this month.
I thought it was the beginning of June.
Yeah, no, July, wasn't it?
Hold on, let's double check the Summer of Soul.
For the nerds that know, we don't really have our hand on anything tonight.
You know what? We all knew exactly what we were talking about.
We do. We just don't have dates. We're horrible with dates.
True. Dates are
No,
okay.
we know many things. Dates are not one of those things. July 2nd.
That's similar to July 2nd, yeah.
I was right. I knew it was July.
Yeah, we still have a little
It's
time.
another win for Smurf tonight.
Yeah.
Opa!
See, I thought you were talking about In the Heights at first, and I was like, that's June.
Give the man a medal.
Well, I'm looking forward to all of the Lynn projects because, again, love him dearly.
We need some fresh stuff.
He is very prolific lately.
He is. He's very upfront right now, and I'm kind of enjoying that. Somebody different.
I like
his only one letter away from the PGOT.
Well, at this rate, he's gonna get there. So.
He's gonna get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I just hope he keeps this quality of work up.
Yeah, that's the key. Got to keep the quality.
They say that after a while your work starts to diminish. However, if you think about it, he wrote In the Heights almost 10, 12 years ago.
Something like that.
Right? And things have just gotten progressively more intense, and his social outreach and all of the things that he's been doing have been getting better and better. I mean, he went so far as to make Stash enjoy a movie that has The Rock in it.
It's true. He did. I hate him for that.
Kind of hard not to enjoy The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, that's just seems short-sighted to not enjoy The Rock.
Come on.
Well, maybe if he learned how to act and not actually just be a rock.
He did a good job as Maui.
And that would be the movie of which we speak.
Yeah, that's the only movie I liked.
But he did a good job as that character.
He did an excellent job as that character.
He did. He sang even.
Yes, he did.
Even still, he didn't really act.
Why? Because he's kind of a meathead demigod to begin with?
Yes.
That's
one
true.
Of the stories I love about Maui and Dwayne Johnson, if you have not heard this one before, or if you have, let me just tell it anyway, is he's watching Moana with his daughter and he's singing along with You're Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And his daughter looks at him and goes, "Quiet, Dad, you're ruining it."
That's wonderful.
Good. I like his daughter already.
Yes. And I'm just and he loves that story. He tells it on talk shows, interviews and stuff all the time. And I'm just that's fantastic.
I will defend him in Jumanji also.
Jumanji's great.
He plays
especially Jumanji 2, where he has to be all of these different people.
It does a good job of it.
He plays an old Jewish guy better than the Jewish guy. I mean, come on.
Each character different. Each character gets its own kind of feeling to it. He does a good job of it.
He does. I know, Stash, you don't like him. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. He's not quite the level of Tom Cruise, but we get it. Yeah, Stash doesn't make the face when we say Dwayne Johnson.
Tomorrow, Smurf, just watch it.
What's that? Which one?
Watch Edge of Tomorrow.
Not happening.
Don't watch Edge of Tomorrow.
Not happening. Not happening. No, it's not.
Great movie.
No, it's not a great movie.
It's above average movie.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
Watch Sharknado. It's a great movie.
See, I'm actually disagreeing with you on this one, Stash. If you're gonna watch a Tom Cruise movie at all, I mean, let's go Mission Impossible, the first one, or Top Gun.
No, go risky business.
What? Okay, first of all, my final Tom Cruise movie was Last Samurai. Against my will.
Oh, that would have made anybody stop watching it.
Yes. Yeah. But it was at that point, right around that point, that I had my firm belief of anti-Tom Cruise. So I have seen Risky Business. I have seen the very flamboyant Top Gun with all its underlining messaging.
Super gayness, yeah.
With all of the homoerotic fantasies in that volleyball scene.
Oh yeah, I could be your wingman anytime. No, you'll be mine. Okay.
I'm sorry, Val Kilmer is really the best, Iceman.
I think I killed Stash.
Dash wants you to be his wingman.
No, I never liked
Coming
that.
right from behind.
And Risky Business is Rebecca De Mornay is the only reason to really watch that film. And then the dump of Porsche.
The main drive of the film.
She is. She really is.
Yeah, I actually don't really like Tom Cruise in that movie either, to be honest.
No,
yeah, but that's a good movie.
That's early putts. That's early putts for him. And then he kind of curves up a little bit. He peaks and then right down the other side of the mountain.
Okay, well, I will defend Mission Impossible, the first one.
But I didn't see it.
He did a good job as Ethan Hunt in the first movie.
And I believe that. And unfortunately, I wanted to see the last Mission Impossible, which I hear is spectacular because Henry Cavill is just like this badass specimen in it. They finally killed off Alec Baldwin.
But he's
thank
the best
God.
I love Henry Cavill.
And I love Simon Pegg and Vin Rhames, and I love the cast. But again, not going to happen. Yeah. I haven't seen Tropic Thunder because Tom Cruise is in it.
Wow. That's his best performance.
That is his best performance.
It is his best performance, and he is almost completely unrecognizable.
He is.
Don't care.
Come on, Smurf. Like,
not going to happen. No. I would rather have my tonsils taken out through my asshole than to watch a Tom Cruise film.
How about The Color of Money? That was a good one.
Color of Money is great, but that's because Paul Newman does a spectacular job, and it's carrying his character over from the movie with Jackie Gleason, The Hustler. So, and he plays the role fine, but again, that's before, that's in that 80s niche, and that's Paul Newman. That's not Tom Cruise. That's Paul Newman.
The Firm.
Oh,
Firm. It's a Grissom book, so it's kind of hard to fuck that up. And yeah, Gene Hackman is stellar in that.
We do have Luna Whisper joining us. And she says that she saw Mission Impossible 6 in theaters and literally cried tears with how ridiculous it was. Great cast, but the stunts are so over the top. She'd rather just stick with John Wick.
Thank you. I appreciate that. John Wick is where it's at.
The over the top stunts is what is impressive about it, and that is because Tom Cruise does his own stunts in those movies.
I'm not saying he's
physically impressive that he is able to do some of the stuff that he does in those movies. I will say that. And
I'm not saying it's not commendable to see him do it. I hear he's a very nice guy. I'm not saying anything against his character. I don't like his acting. I don't care for it. He's not. And if you don't like a restaurant, you don't go back and try another dish. All right. You're expecting the same kind of crappy quality and service regardless of no. That's what I'm expecting when I go to see with Tom Cruise.
You can only get food poisoning so many times. Is that what you're saying, Smurf?
Pretty much.
I get it. Russell Crowe is my Tom Cruise.
And I'm right there with you with Russell Crowe. What he did to La Miz is unforgivable and a sin. And I cannot forgive him.
I don't know if there's anybody I hate as much as either of you guys hate those people.
Rock.
I don't think, or even The Rock for you either. I don't know if there's anybody I hate that much.
Everybody has that one person except for Tank who apparently just likes to hold hands and sing Kumbaya with the world.
Oh, no, they're shitty movies, but I very rarely blame it on actors. I blame it a lot on directors and writers.
Oh, a lot of times it is the
fault I got one. Tyler Perry. I hate Tyler Perry movies.
There you go.
I hate every single one of them. I've seen too many of them, and I hate all of them. So
Michael B.
Jordan.
Jordan.
Any of them anymore?
No, Michael B. Jordan is on a quick click up to that kind of status.
I haven't watched. I haven't watched it yet. Did you watch the
horrible Jack Ryan knockoff? Yeah,
the Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
I haven't either. I know we talked about it last week, but the previews I have no desire to watch this film.
Michael B. Jordan ruins it.
It reminds me of.
He really does.
Apart. Has anyone seen A Man Apart?
Yes.
Movie 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that.
But see, this film is so much more because Jack Ryan. This is out of Jack Ryan's universe, and this character is right out of Hunt for Red October. There's a lot of history with this character, and to have Michael B. Jordan just fuck it up is just painful. And Michael B. Jordan is just not a really good person. I really am not digging on him. So
Yeah, it just, I have no desire to actually sit through that entire film.
Nope. If we wanted to hit mailboxes, we'd let Phil drive. Next.
Luna says that she has an oddly specific hate for the weatherman and the narrator in the Moonrise Kingdom. Anybody know who narrated Moonrise Kingdom? Because I do not.
I do not.
I actually enjoyed that movie.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but Edward Norton is in that movie, and I would understand if you had a kink for him.
Oh, well, Luna has kinks for many things, so that is possible.
And Weatherman only has one good scene, and that's the fight. After that, it's pretty much a worthless film.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump around like crazy people, since that seems to be the mode of discussion for the night. And see, I am so going to mispronounce this because I have not watched this. So Stash sent over an article that was published in the Time, and it said how Yasuke, did I say that right? Yasuke paves a new path for Black creators.
Fairly common, actually.
What?
Fairly common, actually, that name.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But essentially what it is
it's not what I'm familiar with, Tank.
Yeah. It is Netflix's second foray into African American led anime, which is an incredibly interesting development. The first one was son of a bitch. I looked it up and I already forgot it.
First one was
Cannon Buster.
I don't remember seeing son of a bitch.
I don't remember some bitch. You sure you're not getting that confused with Django Unchained?
Is that attached to the box?
Yes. No, Cannon Buster was the first one. And they feature African American leads. And they are directed. The music is done by African Americans, but the animation is done at a Japanese studio. And this is actually a huge thing because Japan is like notoriously xenophobic. They are very, very racist.
They have a very divisive history when it comes, especially to African cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is the second anime that Netflix has completely produced that features mostly Black cast doing an anime that they wanted to do, and a story that features prominently African American characters. And it is a huge deal for the development of the medium because it's showing, like, this first happened with Afro Samurai when that happened, because all of that was written and decided here and then animated in Japan, and then the voice acting was done here. That featured Samuel L. Jackson, which was really, really cool.
This is done by LaShawn Thomas, right?
I'm sorry?
LaShawn Thomas is the creative behind this, right?
I had an article
who did the
up,
Boondocks.
but I can't look at it right now. So
yes, you are correct.
It's the same guy, the Boondocks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm watching the shit out of this.
It's a short watch. Like it's I finished it in a few hours on Sunday when I was just zoned out on the couch. And it's just a nice, interesting story. The pacing isn't quite right. The story is cliche in many ways, but the character it features is very interesting. And it deals a lot more with like what it is to be African in a culture like this. And it is very interesting. It is very interesting that we're starting to see developments like this in anime. And it's interesting that Netflix, of all companies, is the one that
kind of pioneering this,
promoting it, and encouraging this level of opening, which is awesome to see, because frankly, like, if the Japanese had their say, nothing like this would ever be produced.
Actually, to be honest with you, a lot of the animes that Netflix has produced over the last 2-3 years have been very impressive. I mean, I know it kind of started with Castlevania, but it has branched out so much more after that. It's just like, every month or so you get something new that's incredible and you don't expect it, and it's very well done. It kind of almost reminiscent of the 90s anime style. So I kind of in on this.
And
Yeah,
I don't feel like I need to defend Netflix, but they do have, especially over the last 5 to 6 years, have a decent history of reaching to different cultures and kind of pushing out,
Playing to that audience.
playing to different audiences. I mean, they pushed a lot of, like, especially in the last couple of years, they've been pushing a lot of Korean-led films.
Yeah, they really have.
They tapped into a lot of LGBT stuff in the last 4 or 5 years.
I feel like Netflix is not given the appreciation for the fact that, Tank is right there. They are reaching out and doing so much more. Plus, the things that they're producing are getting to be such higher quality than what we had previously expected from them.
Mm-hmm.
Now when you see something that's a Netflix original series,
I'm in. It's better than like a sci-fi original series, like Sharknado or something like that. Where you're like, you're really in for the quality and the story, and it's not some shark wielding nonsense.
Luna says, leave Sharknado out of this. And Lost Song is still one of her top animes, and it is a Netflix anime.
Which one?
The Lost Song.
Yeah, very, very impressive, actually. Very good anime.
Yeah, it's just... Oh, good.
I just truly cannot comprehend how Sharknado comes up on every episode.
It does not come up on every episode, just like 80% of them.
It's because they think I'm ashamed of liking Sharknado, and I'm not.
We think you should be ashamed, and you're not.
There you go.
Exactly.
There is a difference. And hi, Dad. Thanks for watching.
But I think, Love, Death, and Robots is a perfect example of them embracing like multicultural influences for different animes, different styles, so many different storytelling avenues with that series. Season 2, I think, is going to be even more groundbreaking
right around the corner
and eye-opening than the first season. Because the first season, everyone's like, and then they watch, they're like, oh shit, I think this season's going to blow the first season out of the water.
And it seems like they're not...
I don't know if it will.
Oh, it will. Trust me.
It seems like they're not hesitating to basically go anywhere at any time.
No, they're like, no fear.
You know what? Let's give it a shot. See what happens.
No fear.
And they hit a lot recently.
And that's something we were talking about before we started the show is there are people who are pissed off with some of the places Netflix is willing to go and even canceling their subscriptions. But it's because Netflix, and I don't want to go into all of the political things and stuff like that we were talking about before we started recording. But Netflix really isn't afraid to go anywhere, even some of the places they may or may not go. But they're willing to take that step, and they're willing to go there. And they're also willing to say, okay, maybe we shouldn't have gone there.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not apologetic for trying it. They're all about going out there. Here's the rest of the world. We want to bring you the world. It's just not this narrow-minded peephole view of what someone thinks you should be watching. Netflix is actually giving you a choice of here's everything. You pick your lane. If this may not be for you, then fine, don't watch it. Go over here because this is where we've got the stuff that you're going to like. I like this approach. I'm very impressed with Netflix's approach to this.
Well, and this honestly, this last week, I threw it out to did I throw it out to our chat or to our topic board? What my daughter started watching this week was a show that I had never heard of. It's Kipo and the Wonder Beasts.
I just started watching it. I love it so much.
It is so much fun. And
the soundtrack.
I never would have watched it, just scrolling through, but then my daughter flipped it on and I sat there and watched a couple episodes with her. I'm like, this is actually a really engaging story.
It's so good. The characters are all very lovable. It has a Steven Universe kind of flair where the main character Kipo, instead of defeating her enemies, like turns them into allies. And the soundtrack.
Lumbercats. I love the Lumbercats.
Oh, the Lumbercats are great. I really like the metalhead snakes. They're fun.
Oh yeah. And it's the same thing. It's Netflix. Once again, this came out, the first series, it's gone 3 series so far in the show. And it was last summer is when it came out. But it's Netflix just again saying, hey, let's throw something out there.
Which means we've got a new season coming up this summer, I assume.
I think they're doing a 4.
Yeah. Luna agrees. It is such a good show. She's a big fan of Kipo and the Wonder Beasts as well. All right, so another show that is coming out on, I believe it is also Netflix. Let me pop back over to my trusty agenda here.
Thumbnail.
And that is Sweet Tooth. Yes, it is Netflix. Well, we're on the Netflix bandwagon.
Yes.
So Robert Downey Jr.
And his wife.
And his wife.
And Will Forte.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
working
know.
with Netflix to put together this new show called Sweet Tooth. It's a new series. The first trailer has been released, and oh my damn.
And it's based on a comic book, because of course it is, done by Jeff Lemire, who's pretty actually smart comic book writer. And yeah, looks like they're fully adapting the story to kind of, I guess probably do something similar in vein to, and it's not going to be in the same vein as Invincible, but the same idea of they're going to tell this story of the comic, essentially.
And the comic is kind of weird. It's an offbeat comic that DC did for a number of years. And what ends up happening is people start giving birth to their children, and they call them hybrids because their DNA is somehow mixed with animal DNA. So you have kids being born that look like deers or elephants or cows, or so. It's very interesting. But at the same time as the quote unquote hybrids are born, there's this virus that hits the planet that starts wiping people out. So there's this huge controversy between, did the hybrids bring the virus around, or was there something else? Are they the evolutionary answer to the virus? And it's a very class-driven story, but it's very compelling in how they present the lead character's point of view. So it's political, but it's not. It's a very social statement of what could happen, and almost kind of what is happening now, as we're kind of in uncharted territory for social classes.
Yeah, and in I don't know if it was in tandem with the development of this series or how it played out, but Sweet Tooth is actually an active comic again. It started last summer, I think is when it started. It's called Sweet Tooth.
It says, according to the information I've been able to find out, that it started publishing again mid to late last year.
Well, yeah, so they kicked it back up because it was part of the Vertigo line that did Fables and did Sandman and was part of that niche. And
I miss Vertigo so much. I really miss Vertigo.
Yeah, I mean, Vertigo did some of DC's best work. And to not have it is a huge miss on DC's part, but that's a whole topic on its own. But this is very,
it's still being done. It's still through DC though, right? Isn't it?
I think so. I think there's a realignment since Vertigo is gone that they kind of pushed it into something else. But what's really compelling is that Robert Downey Jr. and his wife are taking on another production, because they did the Perry Mason series that was on HBO last summer, and it's a very noir, very compelling series that involves the early onset years of Perry Mason. He isn't a lawyer yet. He's still a private detective out of World War II. And it is one of the best pieces I think HBO produced last year. And I'm hoping they bring it back so we can continue the rest of the story. Of course, John Lithgow is in it. And I was just like, okay, I'm in.
But we're just all going to talk about Lithgow tonight.
It's a Lithgow kind of night.
I'll talk about Lithgow. He's good.
He is good. But I mean, the Perry Mason series was spectacular. It was such a clean take, and it's stuff that's outside of the books. If you've ever read any of the Perry Mason books, you kind of get an inclination that this is pulled from it, and there's a bunch of other stories that are extrapolated from the early onset novelization of Perry Mason. So it's very, very good. And to see Robert Downey Jr. and his wife take on this, I'm expecting a lot, especially with Netflix money. So this could be very, very driven. And if you're a speculator, if you can scoop up those early issues of Sweet Tooth, now is the time. Good luck, but now is the time.
Because that was out of print a while ago.
Very long while ago. And I think when it came out in the early aughts, it
was not a big seller.
No, it was not. And for them to even do a series based on this comic is kind of shocking, because the numbers aren't even close to like Sandman or Walking Dead or anything like this. No. This is a very low flying under the radar. It's even lower than like Invincible or that new Jupiter's Rising. It's even under those numbers. So to see them do this series is very... Yeah, I mean,
really
this
ice cream.
Since this is something that Robert Downey Jr. is taking on, this is probably one of those. He's like, I really enjoyed this comic book series,
and it's good time.
Thing.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised, because, like I said, it has a very social impact. It really does.
Yeah, and it does premiere June 4th.
Yep.
So a little less than a month out. And we'll see what's what when it does happen.
All
right. So, all right, Green Lantern.
Well,
like I said, I'm just jumping all over the place today.
Well, there's a bunch of things that happened in the Green Lantern universe. Primarily, the biggest one is the Green Lantern Corps TV show coming to HBO Max. And it seems to be centered around primarily, brain.
Guy Gardner?
Yes, Guy Gardner and Scott.
Alan Scott?
Alan Scott, thank you. So we're going to be skipping over the which surprised me a lot. They're not going to be doing the Hal Jordan, which is the one that's fairly well known.
Yeah, he's probably one of the most well known.
And they're not going to be John Stewart, which is the most beloved at this point, I think. But they seem to be kind of leaning in that direction. They're going to tell like the more forgotten Green Lantern stories.
And to be fair, I mean, I'm kind of excited to see a different Green Lantern. I really am, because they kind of, I love Hal. He is my favorite, but they kind of killed him with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
John Stewart, I freaking hate. I honestly do not like John Stewart as a Green Lantern.
Wow, that's surprising.
I don't. John Stewart is a worthless Green Lantern. He was always kind of wishy-washy, and then he was a Dark Star, and then he was even worse. And then he came back to the Green Lanterns, and he was more whiny. It wasn't until like later they revamped his character and kind of gave him more substance.
Well, he's kind of the lead in Green Lantern season 3 in the comic books.
Yes, and I'm kind of like,
It's actually pretty good. I read the first one. It's pretty good.
And season 2 actually comes out, or episode 2 comes out this week. Actually, issue 2 for the new Green Lantern. But the Far Sector author is one of the other compelling sides of this story, because they did a spectacular job on this Green Lantern comic. Nobody was expecting.
Far Sector is so cool.
And they're going to be the ones that are behind the writing of the new Green Lantern HBO series. So you get
smart move.
Yes, it is. And Guy Gardner he's not hated, but he's not loved.
People like him more as a Red Lantern than they ever did as a Green Lantern.
Yeah, because he was kind of a dick. He got knocked out by Batman and Justice League International with one punch, and that was a running joke for like years.
A couple decades, yeah.
For a couple decades. But to see him shift to like a leadership role and kind of a mentor role in the comics as he took Kyle under his wing, it reestablished the character. And I'm really digging this choice, honestly. I didn't think I would really ever care to see the Moon Boot wearing asshole in a live action. But I'm in. I'm totally sold on this one. And it's the guy from American Horror Story. I can't think of his name because I don't have my screen up.
Finn Whitrock.
Yes, Finn is actually way good in American Horror Stories. Holy crap! So I'm because Guy Gardner is a very passionate character. He's a dick, but he's very passionate and he's very committed.
Well, and that's why he joined the Red Lanterns.
Yes.
Very passion driven by their anger.
Mm-hmm. And if he brings the passion that I've seen in American Horror Story to the Green Lantern, this is actually going to be a good series. We might see some redemption, and Green Lantern will bump up above Aquaman. Finally, thank God.
I think you might be holding out hope there, Smurf, but
I hope so too. Green Lantern is
as long as they don't CGI all of their uniforms onto them, I think that we're in a better place.
Well, I have a safe bet that they're going to CGI a good portion of them, as long as they don't do it in the cartoon ass fashion that they did in the movie. Or it looks like he's got a Jello mold on his face.
Yeah, that DC intro though with Green Lantern at the very end after Aquaman, it's just annoying the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I know. Well, and apparently, prior to this coming out, well, I guess kind of in tandem with this coming out, is that we were actually kind of treated to some behind the scenes stuff. That Zack Snyder did actually write in a part that was shot down by Warner Brothers or HBO Max, whoever did, shot down the actual introduction of John Stewart, Green Lantern, into the Justice League.
No, which is absolutely good.
But yeah, apparently we were supposed to get a Green Lantern appearance beyond the dead ones.
But then we've got like the Arrowverse that kind of introduced Diggle sporting a Green Lantern ring, and with him directing a couple of episodes, we may still kind of get a John Stewart-esque Green Lantern.
I'm wondering if they're going to be tying that into it.
I think they are. Cool. Hopefully they do. They have the foresight to do that. I'd like to see Diggle as John Stewart. I think that would make sense.
Yeah.
And they set the stage for that long freaking time ago.
And if they bring in a Kyle Rayner too, that'd make me happy.
One of the beauties of Green Lantern is, it's not like Tigger. There doesn't have to be only one.
Yeah.
No, and that's the point. When a corpsman dies, the ring goes off and finds its replacement. So in the comics, Guy Gardner was not close enough for the ring to pick. Because Hal was closer, he was chosen as the Green Lantern instead of Guy.
Yep.
So that's the story in the comics.
Yeah. But, so we can see multiple lanterns at the same time. And I think that that's something that I personally appreciate about the Lantern Corps.
I'd say based on what they're talking about with the series, we're going to see hundreds of Green Lanterns.
We may finally see Kilowog. That's a great idea.
And I like that you see that, there's that, that military training and all of these things that go into being a lantern, as opposed to just like, hey, I got bit by something or fell into something or happen to have a wad of cash.
Hey.
I kind of want to see a live action Jessica Cruz too. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For those who don't know, Jessica Cruz is the, I guess, first female Green Lantern for mainline DC.
No, because the one that was his girlfriend, the orange chick, I can't think of her name at the moment.
Yeah, but she became Starfire.
That's
different one.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
and then there was the chick that was with John Stewart, who was a hunter who ended up with robot arms.
Yeah, but Jessica, but got her own lead.
Yes, Jessica actually with the new Decade is the new one, and she's great. I think it'd be cool to see her. I don't care for Ezra, but
yeah, I agree.
All right, well, leaving DC behind, so much is happening with Marvel.
Yeah, they have announced essentially their next 2 years worth of movies.
They laid it out quite plainly today.
Which
we shared the trailer.
Kind of sad that there was not one inclusion, which makes me have to I guess we're not getting a Midnight Suns because Blade was left out.
but I don't know, because all of the Disney Plus stuff, like streaming, none of that was listed in there. This was just the films.
Yeah, but you figured they would kind of,
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But we don't know what the setup for Doctor Strange is, because that could set up Midnight Suns, because it's only 2 years. We see 2021's releases in 2022 and into 2023. So they knock out
May 2023.
Yeah. So we get to see the final lineup for the rest of the year. And it is a doozy with the exception of Eternals.
Oh, come on. That you got to admit that was kind of an interesting approach to it. That they were her riding up on the horse was funny.
Yeah, you and your high horse, get out of here. That's all I could think is when I saw that. No, nonsense. Wonder Woman did it better. All right, that's what I got to say to that.
Wonder Woman does many things better.
Yes, I wasn't sold on that. I was just like, I was more intrigued with like seeing some new clips from Black Widow.
Oh god, that's so cool. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. David Harbour.
That new trailer looks cool.
David Harbour doing like that. I mean, that was hilarious. Oh my god, I can't wait to see this.
And the Taskmaster with the shield catch.
With the Captain America shield catch.
Captain America shield catch.
So they are staying true to the character as far as the muscle memory and how Taskmaster's powers work.
Which means we might see some sort of weird flashback to something with Captain America, I guess.
We might. And and Hawkeye.
With that kind of behavior, he picked it up from somewhere. So
yes, he did. And the sword. So do we get introduction to Black Knight? Do we get some other version of something else that Taskmaster would get that ability from?
We are getting Ebony Knight in the Eternals.
Yeah, so
maybe there is some sort of link there.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, the Shang-Chi trailer in there actually also kind of I know it's just Bruce Lee.
Is this making you happier than the previous trailer?
No, it's not making me happier. I'm more intrigued. And maybe it's just because I got the chills from Stan Lee's voiceover. All right.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And it was beautiful. And it's not the first time that I've heard that. Because I know that was like part of his eulogy when they put him to rest. And I still get chills.
It's still a thing.
It's still a thing. So that could be just cascading my emotions over the trailer. So, and then of course when Cap says Avengers Assemble, I get the same kind of chills. So it just could be sensations carrying over for that trailer. However,
we got 2 official titles now.
Yes.
We got Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And we got The Marvels for the Captain Marvel follow-up. So we're going to be getting the Miss Marvel something. Yep. She's going to be showing up.
We'll see what happens with it.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel.
I hope so, because there was a lot of success in the Avengers movie with her character. So Avengers game.
To the game, yeah.
Yeah, with her character. So it would make sense that they're trying to bring her over and they were testing the waters to see how she would be approached. And she was like one of the most beloved parts of that entire game. So
she was probably the best part of that game.
Yeah. And I don't know if Brie Larson is really very well liked by the fans.
She's not.
I know a lot of people don't like Brie, and I know Marvel's trying to more diversify, so it kind of makes sense. But I'm impartial. I really don't care unless it's Marvel. I don't give a shit.
I don't think we're going to be getting Marvel. I think we got our Marvel, and that was it in the first one.
Yeah, and that just pisses me off.
Yeah, because you had Marvel for all of 30 seconds.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the right Marvel.
No, it wasn't. They're fully going to be pushing. It looks like the Captain Marvel. Obviously, Monica Rambeau is going to come back.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, they set it all up. They're not going to waste it.
And we're going to get the introduction to, I'm assuming, Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. So
we'll see what happens. I mean, the worst part about this whole big release, with all of these dates, is we know none of these dates are going to be real.
No,
I don't know.
Black Widow is. I think that's pretty much a guarantee at this point.
Okay,
I mean, all of the ones.
Before, though.
Well, but all the ones for 2021 kind of seem very realistic because they're all in the can. They're all done. The only ones that I would be kind of skeptical of at this point is Doctor Strange, Guardians, and Thor.
Well, Guardians that's the second farthest out, or is that the farthest out?
I think that's the second farthest
Guardians is the absolute farthest out. That's May 5th, 2023.
Okay, so it is the farthest out. So which is the one I want to see the most, if I'm going to be honest about it, but
pretty much.
My thing isn't whether or not the filming is going to happen or anything else like that. It's we don't know where we're going to be as a world in 6 months.
Well, and it also makes sense that Guardians is that far out, though, because they were waiting for James Gunn to be done with Suicide Squad.
Right.
That just finished. So.
And I'm kind of upset that they're pushing Ant-Man and Wasp so far out as well. Because that seemed way out there.
There has to be
that's not until February of 2023.
Yeah, there has to be a storyline thing that they're waiting on. Is why they're pushing that so far out.
Yeah, there has to be.
Well, and I guess technically the farthest one they showed actually wasn't Guardians. It would be Fantastic Four, which they did not give us a date for, but
this is true.
They kind of just hung it out there.
Gave us the big old blue 4 with Marvel Studios in the middle of it.
Which almost
one of those
almost looked like an A.
To happen.
Yeah.
It almost looked like an A for Avengers. I was just like, you dicks.
Yeah, but it's definitely Fantastic Four, but yes,
it's a 4.
Like an A.
It did. I was just like, that looks like Avengers Plaza. Shut up.
Well, maybe they're going to turn that building into, be like, building? Hey, you know what?
The old Stark Tower? Is that
Tony's dead. Do you mind if we move in?
Well,
maybe the Baxter building.
Well, I'm kidding.
Well, Stark. That's
Baxter building.
Somewhat realistic that it could be that they move into Stark Tower.
All right.
It is. It could be the Baxter building. Who knows? We don't know where Stark's tower was.
Do you really think that Pepper would let them call it the Baxter building if it was Stark Tower?
If she sold it to somebody else, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
True.
And they already have their own Avengers compound out in the middle of upstate New York anyway, so
this is also true.
The hole that used to be their compound.
Avengers compound, I guess I should say.
I think the sewer system still kind of works.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of a
It almost drowned those people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, depending on how Fantastic Four goes, they may need a sewer system.
That's true.
I need a big plumber.
I think Fantastic Four is going to be one of the strangest and hardest IP to create a movie around that isn't just cheesy and lame now.
Well, we have the blueprint for how to make that movie. It's called The Incredibles.
Very much.
This is true.
That's basically Fantastic Four.
But it just seemed so weird to bring them so late into the game. I mean, they're really late to the party.
Well, I'm wondering if part of that, and I think part of the reason why they're pushing Quantum Mania so far back might be the implication of one of the Richards family that is probably going to be involved soon.
Helping him with the quantum field and him and Richards and Pym working together.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's why they're pushing that one so far out.
Yep.
That would make sense.
Oh, it's so fun to speculate. Who knows?
It is.
We may be the ones that know, but we do not.
Yeah, Kevin Feige knows.
In this case.
So, yeah, lots of stuff coming up, and they did it in the right way, I guess. Just kind of.
It has our interest, and hey, if you're talking about it, that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
And then, falling off of that, Disney also. It's this Friday, right? The Bad Batch releases.
Yep.
Tomorrow, actually.
Oh, it is tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow.
Or May the 4th.
Yep.
May the 4th be with you, and
Bad
so
Batch.
obviously that's why they chose that date.
And
great day.
Bad Batch is picking up at the very tail end of the Clone Wars. So the Order 66 has just been executed, and Bad Batch is spinning out of that.
Yep. It's a mad dash to save, run like hell, and figure out what just happened.
Yep. So it should be good. If you like those characters, I'm assuming there's a decent chunk of people who really love the Clone Wars stuff. So,
well, and they're coming right out of that last episode that they're with Ahsoka, and they take off, and they just rescued Cypher, I think is the character's name, from the not the coalition. I can't think of the name of the group now, but yeah, they just liberated him from Grievous's army, and they fly off, and it looks like it should be good. I'm really excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it does play into the character that's running along with Boba Fett right now, that's voiced by Min Wayne. So she's involved in the Bad Batch as well. So we get some background on her character, hopefully leading into Boba Fett later this year.
We shall see. And by this time next week, we will have many insights and thoughts on what we have seen.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Because we always have thoughts.
That we do.
Not all of them are deep, but yeah, you have them.
And many of them come with an innuendo, but that is one of the things about us that everyone loves.
We have many thoughts, and I am one of them.
You are, Fox. But there you go. When it's away from my face, it looks more like a heart. When it's against my face, it kind of just looks like my face.
There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
So
a
cute.
big old thought.
Yeah, there we go. There's big ol'.
It had to happen.
I would love you with all of my heart, but my tits are bigger.
Wow, honestly,
So next,
it is an honor.
Lord.
And on that note, that's everything on our agenda for the evening.
And on that bombshell, we shall say goodbye. Whether your heart are big or your tits are bigger, we love them just the same. So in the meantime, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind.
All right, we are no longer live streaming, and I have